Oh my goodness. What's up, ladies? Strong Moms, here we are. This is Coach Morgan here and coming to you with our Wellness Wednesday. If you're jumping on live with me right now during the Facebook Live, just go ahead and comment, give me a thumbs up, an emoji, whatever your style is. I just love to know who's there so we can have this conversation together. I also really appreciate seeing moms taking action after the live. So if you're catching this as a replay, I love it when you just hashtag live, tag, hey Morgan, I'm watching the replay, hashtag replay. And that way I can check in with you and kind of look for follow-up questions that you might have, and I can just touch base with you, okay? So last week, today is part four of our pain management series. And this has been an awesome series to coach with you guys. Last week, we discussed mobility. And ladies, mobility is life. If you caught last week's session, you realize how important it is just for our everyday living and how our bodies are meant to move, twist, turn, bend, stretch. And over time, if we are sedentary, we lose that ability. And with the loss of that ability of movement, of flexibility, comes pain and limitation and restriction and loss of independence. And it just feels very, like this downward spiral that we can get caught up in. And then that downward spiral can lead us into just feeling like, well, we just don't have time, or we don't have the resources, or we don't have the know-how, or whatever that resistance is that's keeping us stuck, right? But how many of you were able to not just watch the session on mobility, but you took action last week on what we talked about? I want you to comment and let me know. I gave you a couple of super simple action steps to help get your body more mobile throughout your day. It doesn't matter how busy you are. It doesn't matter what's going on. There are things that we can do that are very approachable, very accessible, and that is what I'm all about. So today, like I said, last part of our 4-part pain management series, I am going to send out an email just after this session that's going to have all the sessions linked in one place for easy access. That way, if you missed something, or if you want to repeat a session, or maybe you had no idea this was going on, but you're like, wait a second, I need this, then you're going to have it all in one place. Because if you're like me, I don't want to go searching through my email. I don't want to go searching through Facebook trying to find something. I want it all in one place where I can just go, here it is, click, and get to what I want. So I want to create that for you as well. Emily, good job. Emily took action last week, being more mindful about getting up regularly at work. Emily, how did that feel? Did you notice any positive changes? Was that a good thing? Was it hard to do it? Did you have to be really intentional about it? I know a lot of times when we first start incorporating something new, something out of our regular habitual routine, it can feel like it takes a lot of effort, even if it's something small or something easy to do. And that is because when we build habits, we build neural pathways that connect in the brain. And our brain wants to be efficient. Our brain wants things to be easy, energy efficient, not taking up too much thought, effort, resources, etc. And so when we build a habit, we create this neural pathway, and it's like a ditch. All right. And so your comfort zone, which is sitting at your computer all day and just grinding away, working until the end of the day. And then you're like, oh my gosh, and you're so stiff and you're in so much pain, and you get up and you're walking like an old person, and you're thinking to yourself, I really need to get out of my chair more, but you don't do it because that one habit that you have of sitting there is so strong. It's such a deep ditch that you have to kind of climb out of. And so Emily says, yeah, I had to be intentional, but it actually helped with focus. 2 really important points, right? It's hard to climb out of that initial ditch, all right? You are going to have to be more intentional at first, even if the habit is easy, which is why we have to start small, and the habits need to be as accessible and approachable as possible. We need it to be so simple because the ditch is already deep and it's already hard to try to climb out of it, okay? But then the other thing that I love that you're pointing out, Emily, is that by doing it, by being more mindful about getting up regularly at work, it helped with you being more focused at work. And this is a huge component of all of this that we're pulling together with this 3-part framework: the posture, the mobility, and the core strength that we're putting together as a system. You will become so much more energized. You will feel more confident, more solid, more focused. You'll have more clarity. And you'll be able to be more patient and responsive to things versus just reacting. I find that I am a much more patient and compassionate mom when I am doing these little things for myself throughout the day, and I'm intentional about it. So know that those are benefits that are not often recognized or talked about or celebrated when we just look at, a fitness before and after photo or something. So know that those are really powerful benefits that you are going to be able to take away as you go through this. Okay, today's focus is on strength. We're looking at that last component of the framework. And I want to start off by asking you, do you have a weak core? How do you even know if you have a weak core? Like, how would you know? What should you look out for in your daily habits, and what's going to help you strengthen your core? All of this we're going to kind of unpack all of that. So in today's session, I want to bring you some high value coaching to help you identify 3 main things. And that is signs that your core is too weak, what to specifically look for, daily habits that can actually ruin your core strength or actually make you weaker. And I'm going to talk through like core strengthening for that solid foundation and what that really takes. Okay, so what exercises do we need to be looking at? If you missed part 1, 2, or 3, I did link them above in the description, so they're easy to grab. And like I said, I'm going to send it out to you in email, so it's super easy for you to get to. Okay. I'm going to skip the intro because hopefully by now we have met, and let's dive right into our coaching today. We're going to start with that clarity. We've been addressing some different types of aches and pains, but today let's look at 5. I want to talk through at least 5 common symptoms of a weak core. And what I want you to take away from this is, as I'm going through these 5 common symptoms, I want you sort of doing a self-assessment, getting some self-awareness, and thinking, am I experiencing this? Okay. If so, you can comment along with me so I can see where you're at, what you're dealing with. It's only going to help us work together to really help you feel like you have a better handle on how to get stronger and what steps you need to take to move forward. Okay. So 5 signs that your core is too weak. The first one is if you have forward posture. Right, so I don't really have a lot of forward posture because I have a spinal fusion, but you guys know what I'm talking about, where the shoulders are coming forward. Maybe even you have a little bit of a hump forming here at the base of your neck, right? And you're slouched forward. Your core muscles should be strong enough to have the endurance to hold you upright, to hold your chin, your head upright while standing or sitting. And so that's one thing I want you to look for. If you're standing or sitting and you're constantly finding that you're having to relax here because maybe you're aching or you're feeling some discomfort, or if you're sitting in a chair and you're having to slouch over or lean over to one side because you just don't have the stamina or the endurance in your core, that's what's happening. So let me know if that's something that you've recognized. 2, the second one is when you balance. So if I asked you to stand on one foot or do any kind of a balancing, you look like one of those wacky, waving, inflatable, arm flailing tube guys like at the car wash, right? If that's you, if that's what you look like, then your stabilizers are weak, okay? And we want to be able to address that. So if you don't have very good balance, if you're not confident in being on one, like if you step back right now and go into a lunge and you're kind of all over the place, or maybe you're doing a bird dog and you're tipping to the side. Other examples could be if you try to walk heel to toe, right? And you're a little bit kind of wobbly there. If you like I said, standing on one foot, maybe you can do that for a couple of seconds. Try standing on one foot with your eyes closed, right? And just talk to, see how that feels in your body. Your stabilizers are extremely important. 3, if you can't sit for too long, or 4, if you can't stand for or walk for too long. Your core is the foundation of your entire kinetic chain of energy and strength. And if your core is weak, everything else has to work extra hard to compensate. And I've definitely talked about these compensation patterns before, right? If the core can't do its job, well, then something else has to try to pick up the slack. And that's where we can get into danger in isolating muscles that are working too hard, deactivating muscles so that they're becoming atrophied and not working like they're supposed to, creating pain in our bodies, all this imbalance. And then also, along with those compensations, would be the 5th one, the 5th sign that your core is too weak, is when you do get that low back fatigue, low back pain, that aching. Maybe you're even starting to experience things like sciatica. So if you're getting that low back pain or fatigue, it can definitely be directly associated with your weak core. Okay, so any of those 5 signs, if you're kind of bringing some awareness as I'm talking through this, and you're thinking, okay, yeah, I can't stand for too long before I'm like constantly having to like move, change positions, or when I'm sitting or standing, I'm always having to relax because I'm starting to get uncomfortable, right? If you're bringing some awareness to that, I want you to make a note of it. Write it down, right? It's if we do all of this self-discovery, but we aren't tracking it and we aren't making note of it or journaling about it, right? How can we move forward and fix it? So we want to be able to get to the point where we can take action. We can also identify some underlying issues that can appear when we have a weak core. And the most common ones being, the 3 most common ones that we typically see are diastasis recti, which is, in a nutshell, it's a separation of your abdominal muscles. As women, as mothers, we all experience an abdominal separation during pregnancy, which is natural, okay? Your body is meant to stretch and expand, and those muscle fibers are meant to pull apart and open up to make room for your growing body and baby, okay? But the problem arises when those muscles have not been taken care of and they do not return or reduce back to normal levels. And what can happen is that separation can lead to your core muscles then not firing properly because they're so stretched. They can't contract the way they need to. And because of that, when the muscles cannot contract, you're going to lose stability that your pelvis and your back need from your core. Okay, so then we have a mom who's really experiencing back pain, pelvic pain all the time because you still need to move and do things throughout your everyday life, pick up things, carry things, grab things, push, pull, sit, stand, walk. And you're still trying to do all of these things with a very weak core, a very weak foundation. Okay, so diastasis can be present for years and decades after your last pregnancy. If it has never been addressed, it doesn't just get better by itself. It needs intentional focused work, okay? The other thing I really want to hit home is this lack of muscle activation, which we can also call muscle atrophy, all right? So when the muscles aren't turning on, is a problem that you might experience right when they're not muscle turning on, a muscle engaging. All of this terminology is just referring to when a muscle can contract, when a muscle can get firm or tight, all right? So all of that means the same thing. So if your muscles aren't activating, they're sleeping, they're atrophied, they're not working properly. And sometimes moms will tell me they can't feel their abs or their core muscles at all. It just feels soft and squishy. Even if they're trying to get that engagement, they're using cues and they're trying to get there, but it's just not clicking. So in this situation, what we really need to do is to retrain those muscles to actually turn on and fire again. And what this requires is a very healthy brain-body connection. we have to be able to connect the brain to the muscles that we want to use and rebuild some of those pathways. And it's all actually going to start with your breath work, in terms of being able to reconnect to the body and to those muscles to get them to turn back on again. Because once they've turned off, your brain is like, great, that muscle group is not using any energy, it's not needing any resources, it's not demanding, I don't have to think about it anymore. I'm just going to shut off all connection to that right now, and put my attention, my resources, my energy, what I need to do over here with other things, right? So this is a really bad brain-body connection that can happen. And then, with that deactivated core or those deactivated muscles, then we can start to introduce those compensation patterns, right? And that's where you have other muscles doing the job of your core. And some of the biggest compensation patterns that I see with women are where your hip flexors are maybe taking over, or maybe your low back muscles are trying to do more work because your glutes are not activating. Your glutes are actually a big muscle component involved in your core. And for those of you that are sitting at a desk job, or maybe you're driving a lot and you're sitting on those muscles, think about this. You're sitting on the muscles. They are not being used. They're being sat on. So your glutes and your hamstrings, right? And the muscles around your hips and your pelvic floor, they're not being activated. And so they're at rest a lot of the time. And so they get turned off, right? So we really have to be intentional about incorporating those again and reconnecting that brain body. So think about how you're sitting at your desk. Think about how you're carrying your kids, your other items throughout the day, and what muscles are actually working for you. I always have to be very aware and like to remind my clients that, we spend like 1 to 4% of our day focusing on intentional improvement of our physical body with a workout. So let's say you do a home workout, or you go to the gym and you take a fitness class, something like that. That's 1 to 4% of your day. So the other 96 to 99% of the day, we're just performing daily activities for life. All right. We need to have a strong functional body for that. Okay. For the 96 to 99% of your day. We want a strong functional body for life, fit for life. That's how I like to look at this. And in the Ab Rehab Challenge and course, you're going to learn how to do things differently. You're going to learn how to breathe, move, activate your core in a way that will help build strength, stability, and alignment so that we can eliminate pain, reduce the risk of injury because of compensations, and just feel so much more confident in your body, fit for life. And that means, like, I also say, like, you've probably heard me say that health is a daily practice. So we can't just do the challenges this weekend and then forget about it, right? It's why I've been dripping out little action steps to you over the course of the last 3 weeks. I want you to understand that these are little things that we need to start to incorporate that are going to build, and we're going to keep doing them, right? Just because I healed my diastasis after my pregnancy and, got stronger in my core and was lifting weights and doing all that, doesn't mean that I need to stop working on my core. It's a daily practice, okay? And we can do it in a very small way. Quick plug, if you have not signed up for that 4-day Ab Rehab Challenge, it is free to sign up for Mother's Day. I want you to go ahead and do it now. The link is in the description. We start on Friday, okay? We start Friday. Okay, so let's think about how your core is set up. You have layers of core muscles, right? And they wrap all the way around your body, 360 degrees of muscles, like a cylinder. When you work your core in a balanced way, it can withstand a remarkable amount of force. I want you to imagine a soda can, all right? It's a cylinder. And if I were to take that soda can, this isn't a soda can, but it's a metal can. If I were to take this can and set a weight on top of it, right, it's not going to compress. It's going to be able to withstand all of that force, okay? However, when we train our core and we hone in and we overdevelop one area. Let's, like sit-ups or crunches where we're hinging forward, taking that, if this was an aluminum can and I could bend it, it would crack in the middle, right? Like a sit-up, I'm cracking it, pushing it forward, pushing it forward. It's going to be much less effective at withstanding any kind of force or pressure that I put down on top of it, because now it's got this kink in the pressure system and it's going to smash it. This is the exact same way that your actual body functions, and it dramatically impacts your ability to brace effectively for everyday movements, but it also creates this whole body weakness when you're working out and you're moving throughout exercises like squats or deadlifts, or even just playing sports or running around with your kids. You have this whole body weakness if you're only honed in and focusing on that one sort of area. So that is why we want to look at more of that 360 core focus, because nothing works in isolation. Our core training includes exercises for your back, your glutes, your obliques, breath work with your diaphragm, pelvic floor. And I know it would just be so much easier, right? Like, Morgan, just give me a list of cool exercises I can go and do at the gym or at home. And maybe you've even found some of these cool exercises on Pinterest or TikTok, like searching for whatever, the latest muffin top or mommy pooch workouts or whatever's out there these days. I don't know. But I really hate to be the buzzkill, but that stuff is not going to get you what you want or actually need for a strong, stable, functional body, right? I want you to think of that stuff as like the shiny, flashy distraction, because what you really need is to learn how to breathe and reconnect your body. That is the exercise that you are going to get the most bang for your buck from and the most benefit and results from. And it doesn't sound sexy. It's like, let's learn how to breathe. Let's inhale and exhale. Let's learn how to reconnect to your body. I know it doesn't sound very like exciting and like, wow, I'm taking action and I'm doing it. It's like, okay, let's lay on the floor, let's sit in a chair and let's do this breath work. But your breath is what connects your deep core and your pelvic floor in a functional and healing way that allows you to build strength and stability for life. And let me just tell you, after my first major spinal surgery and I started getting into my physical therapy, I just wanted to move my body. I wanted to be in control of my body again. I had lost so much of my independence. I mean, I couldn't get myself dressed. I couldn't bathe myself. There was just everything that felt like it had been taken away from me. And it's just, it's embarrassing, and it's just a whole host of things. But when I started physical therapy, I was like, this is it. Okay, this is the thing that's going to get me back. And I'm going to start exercising and working out and, like, getting strong again. And let me tell you, man, that first session, I was such a brat because the therapist had me laying on the table, breathing. And that, like, for an hour, like, that was my whole session. I mean, I was livid. I was a pill to work with. I was just the worst patient, client, whatever, because I just felt like there needed to be more. And session after session, when I went back and they just kept hammering home the breath work, I kept having to do the breath work. And I'm going to tell you what, if I was not going to those sessions in person, I would not have done that at home. I would not have done it back then. Now I will, because I know the benefit. And I'm very grateful that I had somebody in my recovery process and in that healing phase to guide me and to tell me how important it was and to show me how to do it and to support me, and just kept reminding me that this will be worth it. The breath work is what's going to get you to deadlifting, back squatting, burpees, running, whatever it is that you desire to do with your body in a physical way. Okay. So that's one thing I really want to hit home. So getting started and saying that we do some big grand life change, right? It's going to be these small things, and it can stay small and you can still get a lot of results out of it. And I'm not going to beat around the bush about it. Like, if your core feels weak or if you're experiencing any of the symptoms that we've talked about already today, and what you have been doing is not working or moving you forward, then it is time to do something differently. You have to listen to that. And with the Ab Rehab Challenge starting Friday, it's 4 days of focused coaching, small daily actions to help you make that 1% forward progress. There will definitely be a high level of accountability and support inside the Ab Rehab Challenge group where I'll be there for you. But let me give you a quick outline of what we're going to go over. These are some new things that I want to bring to you guys in terms of Ab Rehab coaching. So on day 1, we are going to learn how to improve posture in 60 seconds a day, which will lead to you standing and sitting with less pain. I want to give you something that you can do that is going to be a game changer in terms of time efficiency, but like being able to overcome that resistance in your brain, being able to say, I don't have time for this. This is silly. I'm not going to do this. Okay. On day 2, I want to coach you through a 90-second healthy hip mobility routine. The purpose of this is going to be bringing back full range of motion into your lower body. I want to help you unlock your back and bring strength back into your hips and your pelvic floor, right? If you're sitting or if you're not moving well, that mobility in your lower body and in your hips is going to be critical to you being able to unlock that kinetic chain of strength and energy in your body, okay? On the 3rd day of the challenge, we're going to dive right into core strength. I'm going to give you 6 beginner, low impact, modified core exercises that you can do to strengthen your full core canister, right? You'll be able to do this routine maybe 2-3 times a week as a micro workout. If you're not familiar with my micro workouts, they take less than 5 minutes. And I'm thinking that this will be around 3 minutes. And when I say a modified core exercises, that means that it's going to be safe if you have diastasis. You'll be able to do this if you're currently pregnant, if you have a prolapse. We're going to talk through different ways that you can use these exercises to strengthen your core in that 360 canister that we talked about. And then on the last day, the 4th day of the challenge, what's super important to me is that you can experience your core and your body working really well in that 96 to 99% of your day. All right. So that last day, we're going to focus on kind of the ergonomic motherhood and movement, everyday activities and ways that you can support your body while improving your core strength, while improving your posture and your mobility, just letting it come naturally as you move throughout your day. So everyday movements. So all you need to do is sign up. If you're already signed up, share it, share about it, share the link, invite some friends to join in. I'm doing a little giveaway this week for those of you that are sharing about the challenge. You can win a set of resistance loops. I love these, especially with core work and strength work at home. These are so phenomenal. So I want to give these out to you guys. So make sure you do that. The last thing that I want for you is to have your core muscles in atrophy, where they are totally disengaged, where they're not working for you, they're not doing their job. And instead, that's contributing to a body that hurts, doesn't move well. And remember, all of this is fitting into our 3-part framework that we've been unpacking during this coaching series, the PMS framework: posture, mobility, and strength. And if that's the main thing that you're taking away from this, then let that be solid in your mind so that you know that you need to have all 3 of those components. We want to combine these 3 elements with the right levels and balance so that your body can feel really good at any age, and whether you're in your 30s or you're 65 or older, all 3 of these things need to be in place, right? Information's not going to get you the results. So what I want you to do is take action. That is what's going to lead you towards transformation. And so if you want to eliminate the aches and pains, feel better, have more body confidence and strength, more energy, it all starts with you taking action. And remember, it just needs to be a small thing. So your action step for today, if you have been focusing on moving more intentionally throughout the day, keep doing it this week. If you haven't signed up or you haven't shared about the Ab Rehab Challenge, take action on that and feel really good about taking a step towards doing something for yourself and creating an opportunity for someone else, another mom, to have the same experience and opportunity that you have in this healing and in the strengthening. There's no reason that you have to try and figure this out by yourself, right? I do want to partner with you. I do want to work with you and coach you through it, okay? So with that being said, make sure you're advocating for support. Ask me questions, comment in the group on the live, tag me, and I'm super happy to respond and be there for you, okay? Health is a daily practice, ladies. Let's commit, don't quit, and I'll see you in the challenge starting Friday. Bye.